Cam Ward was out here today speaking to the media. He also arrived here, and he had a lot to say to everybody. Now, he's the first quarterback off the board for many draft analysts. Let's hear what he had to say. I visited with him earlier today. Cam, how have your interviews and conversations been with teams here at the Combine?
It's been great, especially being able to see old players I played with in the past, like Josh Kelly, Kyle Williams when I played at Wazoo. Be able to catch up, guys like Ted Johnson in Oregon. Create a relationship with him in just a day. So, it's been good to see all of us, see the fans out here showing love.
What's been the most surprising question a team's asked you?
I would probably say what I like to do for fun, because all I do is fish and play the video game. So they know I'm a simple guy. So, that's how I got answered.
When there's so much conversation about you being the #1 overall pick, how do you stand up to that and say, yeah, I'm deserving of that and should be the first quarterback at the very least taken off the board?
I think I do deserve it. I worked for it. I told myself when I was 6, this is what I wanted to do. It was a big reason of why I worked so hard. Just wanted to put myself in a position to be selected so high. God, he came through, and I just know my journey's not done yet. I'm just halfway there.
Are you going to throw here?
No, I'm not going to throw here. I think, 5 years of film showcase everything I can do. But I'm looking forward to throwing in my pro day with the best receiver corps in the country.
Cam Ward was one of the best players in college football last year, no doubt. He was top 2 in the FBS in touchdowns, 20-yard completions, passing yards, and total QBR. In fact, he set the Miami single-season record in both passing touchdowns and yards. Field Yates jumping in with us here. He'll be with us throughout the rest of the show as well, and we'll get to you in a second, Phil. But, Mina, let's just move past wherever Cam Ward goes, right? We'll wait and see what that is.
Yeah.
But let's focus in on what he needs to succeed. Is there a certain type of system or scheme that makes the most sense to you?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a bit, and a quarterback who I believe he has some similarities to is Jordan Love with the Packers in terms of the arm talent, some of the off-platform throwing ability, the aggression. So I would actually look at that offense and steal from them, and it's a great offense. A few things that come to mind. The deep throw rate. Jordan Love's second highest deep throw rate in football last year. Cam Ward, he can throw to all parts of the field, make the difficult high-level NFL throws. I'm talking about the hole shots, the opposite hash outs. He can do that. It has to be a part of your offense. RPOs, another thing that the Packers do a lot. Ward is a fantastic RPO quarterback. Again, I talked about the arm angle. Some of the more creative arm angles you'll see, very Jordan Love-like on tape, frankly. And then, the way LaFleur uses motion, frankly, to give him answers, different formations. He puts him in a pistol sometimes. I think Ward could do that as well. There's just a lot about that offense that I love and a lot that I could see Cam Ward doing as well in the NFL.
I think the cool thing about Cam and the reason why you're talking about a guy and why you talk about guys being #1 overall picks is because they're so scheme diverse. They give you so many options. Look, Cam, you can't put him in the box of just being a gun quarterback or a pistol quarterback or an under center quarterback or a guy who needs, play action in order to have big throwing windows for him to fit throws into. He's not a guy who needs to throw to the short side of the field. He's not a guy who can't push the ball down the field. He can do it all.
Yeah.
That's why we're talking about him being like maybe the first quarterback taken. And I think history, if you let history be your guide, there was a lot of concern about Bo Nix, right? Whether or not he would be able to get under center and operate efficiently from that posture, from that starting position. He answered all those questions at the Senior Bowl and then during his time in Denver. Cam Ward, there's nothing he can't do. It'll be on the offensive coordinator to say, hey, look, let me just see what he does best, what he's most comfortable with, and go from there. But this kid has such range. I just can't wait to see what team he goes to and what they do with him because he can do it all.
As we know, there are 2 quarterbacks that headline this class, and many are wondering, so how do you break the tie between Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, who, to be clear, are very dissimilar in terms of the way that they approach the game and play the game. But for me, perhaps the signature trait that I think defines why Cam Ward is my #1 quarterback, and that won't change between now and April 24th, is I think he has better second reaction skills. What I mean by that is when something breaks down within the pocket or within the play structure, Cam Ward has a bit of magic to him. You see it on this play right here, perhaps the best throw of his entire season with Miami against Florida. Obviously a big game in rival. Sorry, Laura, to your Gators. But this guy has some ability to turn negative plays into positive plays. The way that he can break the pocket, and he did it more so by breaking the pocket and launching the football down the field as opposed to breaking the pocket and hurting you with his legs. But I think there is more to tap into as an athlete from Cam Ward. They did not really need to at Miami last year, but you can unleash that more at the NFL level.
Yeah, Ward finished his college career with 158 passing touchdowns, the most by any player in NCAA Division I history. This is a guy that started off as a 0-star recruit, an incredible story. You won't see Shedeur Sanders throw tomorrow, of course. He said you'll see see him work out at his pro day. He's been around here. And this morning, the Colorado quarterback made it clear that he is a program changer.
If you ain't trying to change the franchise or the culture, don't give me. So you should know history repeats itself over and over and over. And I've done it over and over and over. So it should be no question why an NFL franchise should pick me. You think I'm worried about what critics say or what people got to say? You know who my dad is? They hated on him too. So it's like it's almost normal. Without people hating, it's not normal for us. So we like the adversity. We like everything that comes with the name. That's why we are who we are.
All right, Field, what's the concern teams will have when it comes to Shedeur playing at the next level?
Yeah, I think it's playing more urgently in the pocket, Laura. Now, he took more sacks last season than any other player in all the FBS. A large part of that is a bad offensive line that he played behind in Colorado. But there could be a difference between a sack in which you get up and the next play you find a way back into it versus a more devastating sack where you're really playing behind the sticks. He is a sufficient athlete. I think playing from the pocket is something that can be coached. Just a little more pace and urgency when the football is in his hands to avoid some of those major negative plays.
So how about Jaxson Dart out of Ole Miss? He's one that could rise up some draft boards, has a chance to make waves here. Dart spoke to the media this morning and made it clear he thinks he can help a team win now.
I'm very confident with the player that I am, and I feel like I can do whatever it takes for the team to win. And, I feel like I'm somebody who's a culture and an organization changer by the way that I go out there, and I've had success at every level I've been able to win at a rate that hadn't been done before at the school that I was just at. So, like I said, I think there's a lot of great quarterbacks out here. We all have different skill sets and things that separate us. But for me, I feel like the intangibles of what I bring to the organization are kind of what set me apart.
Adam, what's the buzz surrounding Dart at the Combine this week?
Lauren, previous segment, we talked about all the teams that need quarterbacks. There aren't enough to go around. Jaxson Dart looks like he's got a real possibility to go in the first round. If we remember last year and go back to the case of Bo Nix, people were not talking about him as a first-round pick. Wound up going number 12. It wouldn't be a surprise if it happened here, too.
Interesting. All right, let's go to Tyler Shough, who's 25 years old, as we told you. Adam's okay, guys. Don't worry. It's Combine week. We all get a frog in our throat. All right, he's exhausted every ounce of his college football eligibility. Shough has no doubt about his standing in this quarterback class.
I think I'm the best quarterback in this class. I think just the combination of what I've gone through mentally and experience-wise, and then in my physical tools. I think, I played less ball, honestly, than some of the guys here, even though I'm older, just because of the situation that I've been in. So I feel like there's a lot of untapped potential for me. I feel like the sky's the limit, and, I think what has happened in my past has only gave me that passion to keep going further. It's kind of lit this little fire underneath me that, I want to go out there and compete and prove myself right, that, I am one of the best guys.
Lewis, what do you make of Shough as a prospect?
Laura, I love the guy. I absolutely love the guy. If you put his best 10 throws onto a reel and put them next to Shedeur's and put them next to Cam Ward's, you would sit there and go, look, maybe this guy's number one. When you just look at it throw for throw, it's 6'4", 225 pounds. I mean, he can move like a guy who's 200 pounds. He can throw from different arm angles. You can load him up with as much information pre-snap as you want, and he'll be able to decipher it post-snap. He pushed the ball down the field. The reason why he got hurt earlier in his career, they used to run him a lot. And then when he got to Louisville, Jeff and Brian Brohm stopped doing that. He's going to put on a show out here when he comes out here, and I think as we move along, you're going to hear this name a lot more.
Dillon Gabriel, the lefty, he made waves at the Senior Bowl not too long ago. Looked really good there. Gabriel spoke this morning about what he wants out of his next team if drafted in April.
Great alignment. That's from coaches, players to ownership. I know that that's very important. A team wants a winner, wants a franchise leader, then, they know who to call. But I also just want them to know that I want a believer as well, someone who believes in my abilities, and I can go out there and go win games.
Mina Gabriel listed at 5'11". What gives you hope that he can make it in the NFL at that size?
Well, I think that he's displayed some of the characteristics we've seen win quarterbacks that size. Your Russell Wilsons, your Kyler Murrays have been successful in the NFL. That's the ability to throw on the move, to access all parts of the field. I think he has a good arm. He's very accurate to the intermediate level. He's a playmaker. He's a good athlete. You give him some dual threat ability. Now, the size does show up on tape. I'm not going to say it doesn't at all. Sometimes pressure gets to him on the interior. But one thing I like is he has gotten better every year. And I really feel like at Oregon, he showed play under pressure that will translate to the NFL.